and welcome to the Rest is Football question and answer episode. Thank you once again for sending your questions in. We'll do our absolute utmost to answer as many as we possibly can. So let's get cracking with Connor Kane. Has VAR made the standard of officiating worse as referees are too reliant on it? It's an interesting question. I wonder whether it does influence them a little bit sometimes as to whether...
Safety net.
Yeah.
You know what I think it is? I think it's like when we do something live and we pre-record something. You've got the safety net, haven't you? That's the analogy I would give for it. They're not taking responsibility. They're sort of half making decisions knowing that they've got the backup. But the problem is the backup's not even great. That is a problem we've seen last weekend with Arsenal. So that's a really interesting question. I don't know how to answer that, but I just think...
there's no exact science on it. We can't know because I would imagine it would be in the subconscious rather than a deliberate effort, I would think. But it is an interesting question.
I would go along with all of that, definitely. I'm not sure that the standard is where it should be.
Okay. Ryan Dooney. Should Manchester United sell their prime assets to allow a rebuild for Amorim, or should Amorim adapt to the players he has?
Who are their prime assets?
That was the question I was going to ask.
Kobe Mainoo
would be definitely one.
Garnacho would probably fetch you 50. They're talking about Napoli, 50 million.
Bruno Fernandes, I think, is... he's a class player. I think with a lot of perhaps better individuals around him, I think he'd be standing out even more often because, he's kind of held them together on a lot of occasions. He needs players that can play in the system that he wants to play because he says he's not going to change, he's not going to adapt. This is the way he believes it should be played. So therefore, their recruitment needs to be for players that can play in certain positions in the way that he wants them.
By all accounts, they've got no money to bring players in, so they're going to have to sell.
Yeah. Well, the clubs, clearly...
in terms of PSR.
They've made a real mess of it so far.
Have they? Goodness me.
They're talking about putting ticket prices up again and because
how dare they?
They're financially in difficult. And you just think, you're going to put this on the fans.
Yeah.
They've been suffering enough with the football that's been played.
You go and pay for our errors.
Yeah, the clubs, the stadiums run down a little bit. Apparently, according to, I've got a number of friends that support Manchester United that go to games and that say that match day experience is nothing like it was even just a few years ago. There are major concerns about that football club. It's going to take, not only it's going to take time, but they've got to start getting things right.
Fascinated to know what he really thinks about Amorim. He must think, what the hell have I walked into?
I would sell a couple of the players, and I would just start again. I agree with Gary. The players don't know how to play the formation. Can they learn? Are they willing to learn? I would just start again. Can it get any worse? It can't get any worse than it already is. So you might as well start again with players who know the system.
Talvinder Sembi. Can Micah use his connections to get Del Piero on for a long-form interview? What a legend. Would be great to hear what it was like to play in Serie A in the 90s.
A proper striker on the pod. Of course I can.
He was a proper striker as well,
A proper striker. You know what? I actually thought about that the other day. He's a really nice guy. I told you I went to Italy for the Champions League with him. He was in Bergamo and we was in Turin. I'm sure he would love to come on, actually, but it's one of those where I don't want to feel like I'm taking advantage, but yeah, I'll ask him. Why not?
If you don't ask, you won't get.
True. Doesn't he live in Los Angeles and he's got a restaurant
He lived in Los Angeles for a while, and then he was in Madrid, and now he's back in Turin.
Great player.
Top player.
Oh, it really was.
Honestly, you lot think you lot get love when you walk around. The big Gary Lineker and the amazing Alan Shearer. When you go to Turin with Alessandro Del Piero, it's a different level. He's like God. Honestly. I was like one of his disciples.
I think you're the first person to ever call me Big Gary Lineker. I quite like that.
You are big Gary Lineker.
Yeah. Big head or big ears, I've had that a few times. But mainly from Al.
Pardon?
Not again, Al. Not again. No chance. Never again. Mart Turner, what are each of your best club teams that you played in regardless of trophies? Was there a Newcastle team that Alan played in that was better than his Blackburn side, for example?
I think for flair, definitely the Newcastle side I came to, but Blackburn were a very sort of different side. We had a great team spirit and a system that worked for everyone, and it worked because we went out and won the Premier League. I mean, ultimately, we couldn't do that in Newcastle. But in terms of flair-wise, yeah, at Newcastle with Ginola and Beardsley and Asprilla and Gillespie and all those talented players that we had, yeah.
Oh, Philippe Albert.
Albert defensively,
Oh, what a play. The hair. I just remember him. He just comes up with the hair, the dark locks. He was left-footed, right?
Yeah, left foot, yeah.
What a left foot he used to have.
Was it that game when you battered Man United? He scored one from just floated it over the keeper.
That was the fifth goal. That was the fifth
goal
one.
In that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Flair-wise, definitely that team that I went to Newcastle, but ultimately didn't win anything.
Who did you have in there?
Shaka Hislop and Pavel Chernicek, yeah. Sadly, no longer with us.
Chernicek, that
What
was
about
it.
you, Micah? I mean, you're not going to say Villa, are you? Because got relegated.
Cheers, Gary. Honestly.
I'm just thinking of who she played for. Fiorentina, how about that?
No. We had some
How
good
to
players.
enjoy your Tuesday night, Micah. A kindly reminder.
Honest to
Dear,
God.
sorry.
Cheers, guys.
Apologies. You call me little Lineker now. That's not a big man anymore. I would have to go. It's quite an easy one for me. The Everton side that I played in, even though it was one season, it was a brilliant side, and without key injuries to Southall and Bracewell that were out for the latter stages of that season. I think we'd have definitely won that title.
You had some brilliant players in that team, didn't you?
That team. I mean, it was, Southall, Gary Stevens,
Ratcliffe,
Mountfield, Pat van den Houw, and then you got Trevor Stephen on the right, Paul Bracewell, Peter Reid, and Kevin Sheedy on the left, and Sharpie and myself up front.
Gary Stephen, right back?
Gary Stevens, right back, yeah. And then Adrian Heath and people like that on the back. And it was, I mean, they were really good. We should have won the double and we ended up winning neither.
Where are all these players now?
Micah hasn't got a clue about who some of those players were talking. I look at him when I'm saying those names and he's thinking...
born.
Yeah, but you should still know those players. Those were great players, man.
My era started in the Premier League, where anything before the Premier League.
Oh, goodness me.
Ray Litter, if you were going to take part in one reality TV show, which one would it be? And I suppose this means if you had to.
Had to? Oh. Compulsory.
Yeah. Does MasterChef
dancing,
count as a
wouldn't you?
reality TV show? I'd have a go at MasterChef.
What did you say, Al?
You do the dancing, wouldn't you, Micah? Strictly Come Dancing, wouldn't you?
No.
I saw you last week or the week before when you were doing some shapes on the studio floor.
Yeah, we was having a few shapes. The only, what could you say, reality TV I would do would be Traitors, if I had to.
Traitors, good shout, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's very good, that.
Conniving, deceiving. Oh, I just love it.
I'm not sure I could do the jungle. I'm frightened of heights.
Yeah, me too.
Don't like spiders. Apart from that, I'll be all right.
It's the big hard man, Newcastle hard man. He's afraid of tiny little spiders.
They say little ones, but spiders.
So which one would you do then, Al?
Probably the jungle one. No chance. I couldn't do that. There's
What
no
about
way I'd do the
SAS
dancing.
Who Dares Wins?
Who dares win?
Mike, you'd be
What
good
a
on that,
shout.
Yeah?
Yeah, but my knee, I couldn't do it with my knee. I can't run, can I?
Oh, dearie me.
How old are you?
36.
Oh, God.
Here's a question of interest, Alan. It's one for you. From Stephen. Did David Batty once fill King Shearer's King Shearer? Blimey, that's overdoing it, Stephen. Did David Batty once fill King Shearer's brand new Jaguar up with bales of hay at the training ground at Maiden Castle?
Well, it was the players did. It wasn't just him. The rest of the players did. Yeah, I had a sponsorship deal with Jaguar, and I foolishly left the roof off on the one sunny day in Newcastle once. And I came back, and the whole fucking car was full of hay, grass cuttings. It was like you couldn't hardly see the car. It was covered.
Was that in your heyday, Alan? In your heyday? But you made hay while the sun shone. Yeah, but that's good.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they
was
did
that the final straw? Oh dear. And before we take a break, one for you, Micah, from Brian Potter.
Oh, yeah?
Does Micah still go back to Chapeltown for a Maureen's?
Oh, of
What's
course I
Amorim?
do. It's Caribbean food.
Ooh.
So what are we talking about? Oxtail, jerk chicken, chicken soup, dumplings, ackee and saltfish. You name it. Well, you know when we do a game, please, I've got an Italian.
Why did you all of a sudden start talking like that?
Because I got excited. I have to go into third person,
right.
don't I? Like, I got to get into character when I'm talking about food. I've got 2 restaurants I need to take you to. I need to take you to Chapeltown, and we need to go to Maureen's and Dutch Pot, 2 Caribbeans. A little bit of rivalry, but you can say which one's better. And Brio's in Harrogate, Italian. I'm telling you now, the best Italian food in the north. I'm not going to go down to London. I'm not going to say London, but in the north, Brio's. Wowzers.
Yeah, we need a Restis football trip.
Yes, we do.
That's an offer, guys. Don't let him forget it.
Yeah, no. He didn't say he was paying, though, did he?
That is true. That is very true.
It's on me. It's on me.
Before we go to a break, we've got a special part of the show for you today. Guinness has been partnering with the podcast for a while, I'm sure you know, and it's fitting because we love getting together to chat about everything football over a pint. And there's nothing that gets us football fans chatting more than a transfer window. So seeing as we're in one now, let's talk about the best ever January transfer window signings in Premier League history. So January signings, Micah? Who are you going with? We'll go one each.
You know what? I'm going to go a little bit left. Just a little bit left because I feel like this player doesn't get enough respect. I'm going to go with Andy Cole from Newcastle to Man United. What, for a measly £7 million, and he won 5 Premier League titles. I mean, I played with him at my back end at Manchester City, and his movement, even at that age, was just incredible. And I think to get him at that time, it was massive because I used to love him at Newcastle as well. He scored loads of goals, but when he went to Man United, it just took it to the next level, didn't he? He really did. What
Brilliant
a player
striker.
he is.
Absolutely
Very good,
brilliant
yeah.
striker. And friend of the podcast, obviously. We interviewed him a year or so ago, didn't we? How about you, Alan?
I'm going to keep the forward theme going, so I'm going to say Luis Suarez, Ajax to Liverpool. I think it was about 23 million quid, and without doubt one of the best forwards we've seen in Premier League history. So Luis Suarez.
I was thinking of one or two like Bruno Fernandes, and I think Nemanja Vidic went to United in the window, but it's got to be Virgil van Dijk. I was going to go Luis Suarez, but I was thinking Suarez or Van Dijk, which one? And because you went Suarez, I'll go Virgil van Dijk. I mean, it's a lot of money, 75 million, but what an impact he's had. Premier League, FA Cup, Champions League winner, of course, and quite possibly will lift the Premier League trophy in 4 months' time.
Mm-hmm. It's looking that way.
Yeah, what a player. What a player. Well, there you have it. There's always plenty to chat about, so grab yourselves a delicious Guinness and let's watch the transfer window drama unfold. We can't wait. And to celebrate being the official beer of the Premier League, Guinness has created an iconic Guinness football glass. There it is.
Yes.
So there you have it. It's got the old toucan on the front, and we've all got one.
We have. Yeah.
That's very nice too. It'd be better if it was
Full up.
But we'll do that in a minute. Transfer to a proper Guinness glass for the perfect pint at home. Sign up on myguinness.com and enter the competition to be in with a chance to win one of 100 football Guinness glasses. GB only, 18 plus. Prize draw ends 14th of February. Please drink responsibly and please do not forward to anyone under the legal purchase age. Time for a quick break now. We'll be back soon. Welcome back to the Rest is Football question and answer episode. I'm going to go straight in with one of those, and this one is incredibly difficult. Simon Jones. Start, bench, sell. Pele, Maradona, Messi.
Oh my gosh.
Whatever way you say it, there's no right or wrong.
I would agree with that, Alan. It's difficult with Pele because I didn't see him enough. I just caught the first World Cup that I had real memories of was 1970 in Mexico, and Pele was unbelievably brilliant. And I personally think those are the three greatest. Maradona, when I played against him and when I watched him, I thought I'd never, ever, ever possibly see a better player than him. And then Messi came along, who was remarkably similar to Diego. That left foot, the magic that they could do, the vision that they had, both diminutive. They're very similar in terms of abilities, but I just think Messi, because of longevity and the fact that he did it for, and he's still doing it in a way, 16, 17 years, just gives him the edge. So I'd start Messi, bench Maradona, and who sells Pele? But sell Pele only because it's hard to judge people when you've not seen them play as frequently.
I would go along with that because it's our era, isn't it, in Messi? We've seen most of him. I know you played against Maradona, but it was our era watching Messi, so I would go along with that.
I would go Pele number one, only because in that era it was all about the World Cup, wasn't it?
3.
Or not all about, and Pele's won 3. And I think his first World Cup, he was 17. Is that right, guys?
Scored 2 goals in the final.
2 goals in the final at 17 in a World Cup. I don't know, people talk about the teams that he played for and he didn't go to Euro and all. I get that. But I think the biggest competition back then was the World Cup. And to score in the final and get 3 of them, although he was in some amazing teams. So I'm going to go start Pele, bench Messi, sell Maradona.
There's no wrong answer.
No, there isn't. Andrew Leach. Gary, you were the answer to a question on Richard Osman's House of Games the other night. Also one of our sister podcasts, The Rest is Entertainment with Marina Hyde, which is brilliant. If you've not listened to it yet, you really, really should. There were clues about you in the form of a poem. Have any of you been on a quiz show? If you were to go on one, which would it be? I went on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire once.
Did you?
That's the only one. I mean, I hosted one for a couple of seasons and also went on Pointless with Harry, producer Harry here. We went on.
How'd you get on?
We didn't get to the final, but we did okay. We were respectable. We were fine. We weren't embarrassed, but we were up against incredibly tough company in Louis Theroux, who is a genius, and his wife is equally as smart and clever. So they were always going to win it. We did all right. We did okay. And did all right on Millionaire as well. I was on with, who was it? Austin Healey. Right. I was on with him, and I think we did all right. Can't remember, it's 32 or 60 odd thousand. So we did fine.
I expect you better than that. You're better than that, Gus.
Do you know what? I don't get nervous on anything really, but on that Millionaire thing, you just think
you're on your own.
But and you can end up with a question that seems easy to everybody, but if it's not your area, you can look a complete numpty. And also, you're doing it for charity and trying to win a few bob for them. Yeah. And if you feel like you've massively let them down, so that was one time I did feel a little bit butterfly on those.
I saw. Did you see Guy Mowbray? Was it last week or the week before? He did Mastermind. He sat in that big black seat. I'm thinking the pressure you must be on as soon as you sit down in that seat.
There's no way I'd go on Mastermind.
I think his specialised subject was York.
Oh, that's where he lives, isn't it?
I know. Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah, York. That was his specialised subject.
Wow.
Have you done one of those, Micah, before?
Nope, I never would. Imagine that, embarrassing yourself. Not a chance.
It's nerve-wracking. I did question his sport, and that was enough.
Oh yeah,
I would
question
never,
sport I
ever
did
do
lots
that.
of times, well, a few times, way back. That was always a bit of fun because it's an area where you know a little bit about your sport. Well, Mike, have you league your own?
Nope.
I suppose does that count?
Yeah,
as a-
well, it's not really a quiz, is it? You have a few questions.
It's not a serious quiz. Have you ever been on anything like that?
Never. I'm not exposing myself to that. Not a chance.
Well, not unless Manchester City lose, then you'll be exposing yourself. Oh, here's one from Jamie Wiley. Most emotional game of football you've played in? Emotional. Oh, that'd be the semi-final of the World Cup in 1990. That was losing the penalty shootout. That was pretty damn emotional.
Good question, that.
No, I'm not. I didn't really get emotional in any of the games, Only even when we were beaten, I think it was just have to accept it and move on. But tough to take, yeah. But I don't know about emotional.
No, my auntie died before a game. My auntie died and the funeral was on the Friday. So I didn't go to train on the Friday. Then I had to play on the Saturday. And I didn't know how I was going to play. I don't know what my emotions was going to be like. But fortunately, I played well. Just gave me the extra strength I needed, to be honest. But yeah, don't really get emotional like that. You get pumped up, don't you? But not like emotional.
I get more emotional when things are going really well rather than perhaps when you lose.
Yeah.
I didn't cry when we lost the penalty shootout. I was gutted, obviously.
Yeah.
But then, when Leicester won the league, for example, I had nothing to do with it. I did, I shed a few tears there because it was just so beautiful. Tom Holmes, if you guys were in the Gladiators, what would your gladiator names be and why?
Oh, easy.
Big Meats.
Big Meats.
Big Al!
Big Ears.
Big Meats, Big Lugs!
I think I'd go for... I was talking about this the other day. What would be my darts name? We were all having a chat with my lads and we were all thinking, I was going, well, because you've got to have that middle name, don't you? A bit like they do in boxing as well. I think I'd go Gary Lightning Lineker.
Lightning Lineker.
A bit of alliteration. Yeah, I like it.
Exactly.
Lightning Lineker.
Lightning Lineker.
Alan Shearer.
It would be a darts, definitely, yeah.
I like the word juggernaut. Juggernaut. I just think it's a Micah Juggernaut.
Micah the Juggernaut.
Richards.
There's always innuendo with anything that Micah says.
Do you know what a juggernaut is? It's nothing. There's nothing sexual about that. It's just
It's where you say it.
huge.
I need a fucking juggernaut to get you in the studio naked, that's for sure.
I don't think that'll be allowed to happen somehow. Anyway. Okay. One more question, chaps. From Lee Welsh. Do you think players like Messi, Ronaldo, etc. have slightly tarnished their legacy by continuing in lesser leagues and years past their best instead of retiring at the top, such as Zidane, Cantona, et al.?
No.
No, I don't think so. They're entitled
not
to
at
do what they want. It's their life. It's their career. If they want to carry on playing football at a lower level, and who are we or who is anyone to tell them that they've done the wrong thing? For them, they've done the right thing. So just accept it.
And they're in their mid to late 30s now, and they're going to different parts of the world to spread the game. The game will grow massively in America now because of that. The game will grow in the Middle East because Cristiano's there. I absolutely, I think it's a good thing. I think it's what you don't want to see is if you perhaps stay in Europe at the top and your powers wane a little bit and then they start to struggle. But they've gone there and they've both carried on scoring bucketfuls of goals and entertaining a different crowd. I don't know. I mean, I did it myself, so I could hardly be a bit hypocritical to have a pop at them.
Yeah, agreed with both of you. I think it's good to spread the awareness of the game. I think it's absolutely fantastic what they're doing. And didn't Messi in the Ballon d'Or when he was at Miami, because the first half of it he was in Europe? I'm sure he was picked for Ballon d'Or.
That's because of the World Cup, Micah.
Yes, but I mean, still.
He pretty much, not single-handedly, they were a strong team, but he did drag them to a World Cup.
It was still at Miami when he got it, though, no?
Yep. Okay, on that note, we're going to go abroad and do a podcast somewhere else. So that's it for this week's episode. Thank you very much once again for your questions. We'll be back on Friday when we'll be looking at the final games from the Champions League stage, which could be carnage, could be fun. We shall see. Goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.